Imagine mastering every day with the precision of a seasoned pilot through the roughest seas, calm, collected, and in control. Such is the nature of peak performance. When you are firing on all cylinders, spiritually, mentally, physically, working on the most important task with clarity and precision, so you don't waste time and you virtually guarantee success. Peak performance is the ultimate competitive advantage in business. There's no such thing as an elite performer that is not successful, because performance breeds success. Over time, if you up your performance, you will eventually succeed at whatever game you choose to play. Now, unlocking your peak performance is a whole process that implies actualizing your identity, reshaping your belief system, creating new habits and protocols that underpin that new identity, and setting goals, systems, and targets that actually help you make consistent progress that feed off that new identity. It's a whole process, and I know because I've built a company over the past 7 years helping entrepreneurs do exactly this. But the good news is that once you know how to show up at your best, once peak performance is unlocked, sustaining that peak performance is simple. It's about nailing the fundamentals. And there's 5 specific habits that I believe carry the most weight. I've been testing hundreds, if not thousands, of different habits and protocols over the years, and this 5 really carry the most weight in helping me show up at my best every day and helping my clients do the same. Pay attention to habit number 4, because I invented it. I'm kind of proud of it, and it really changes the game. Every client has told me that a variation of this habit changed the game for them. Welcome back. My name is Castillo, founder of Selfmastered, Peak Performance Institute for Entrepreneurs. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, because we publish weekly videos on how you can scale with peak focus, clarity, discipline, and self-belief. So these 5 habits is something that I do every single day that help me sustain peak performance and help our clients do the same. And habit number 1 is, you guessed it, meditation. Meditation is, in my view, the most important habit that you can cultivate, because it is the tide that lifts all boats. On the one side, it fosters spiritual performance. Spiritual performance is your ability to tune into your own sense of purpose, understand what are the values that drive your behavior, and see awareness as the source of all your power. Because when you understand that you are awareness, you are not your thoughts and your emotions. You can choose what thoughts and emotions better align with your goals and intentions. But meditation also helps with your neurophysiological performance. In other words, it helps with neuroplasticity and neurogenesis. Neurogenesis is the creation of new neurons, specifically or mostly in the hippocampus, which is the area of the brain that is related to learning, but also neuroplasticity is the ability of the brain rewiring itself. Every time you learn something new, your brain physically changes to accommodate for that new information. Neuroplastic brains are able to obviously learn faster and improve much better. But meditation also helps you with your physiological performance, because it helps lower stress, synchronize the autonomic and nervous system, and prevent burnout. In essence, meditation is the most important habit that you can develop outside of, nailing your sleep, exercise, and nutrition. Now, the problem with meditation is that most people find it very hard. In fact, I found it very hard in the beginning, and what changed the game for me was thinking of meditation as mental training. And I started labeling meditation as mental training way before I started reading about, Buddhist texts that discuss meditation as mental training, which is very cool. And the best protocol really is the one that works for you. There's a zillion different ways of meditating. I want to share mine that works for me, and I do it every day, right? So the goal of meditation is to sit down and observe your thoughts. That is, in essence, meditation. It's not about having a blank mind, because that is important, or having a specific set of mantras or practices that you need to follow. No. You can choose to do that, but meditation in essence is cultivating awareness. The simplest way is to sit down, have one ancha, it can be your breath, it can be your mantra, whatever, and every time your mind gets distracted, you just take it back to that ancha. This is meditation. Every time you take your awareness back to the present moment, or back to the mantra, or back to the breath, that is how you train your mind. There's specifically parts of the brain that light up every time you do that, right? So that is the concept of meditation. And I do that every single day for at least 20 minutes right after waking up, oftentimes more than that. Latest research says that the brain starts changing, the neuroanatomy starts transforming after 8 weeks of 12 minutes a day of meditation. So I tell our clients to at least try to do 15 minutes every single day right after waking up, which is when it's most effective. But really do it whenever suits you best. I wake up, come to my office, sit down on a meditation cushion, nothing too fancy about this, and I just sit down, close my eyes, and meditate, right? At least once a day, most times more than that. Habit number 1, meditation. But then what? What happens right after I meditate? Well, I go into habit number 2, which is mental reprogramming. See, performance problems are a misalignment between the conscious and the subconscious sides of the mind. When you consciously want to do something, but you subconsciously don't believe you're worth it, so you eventually self-sabotage, you self-negotiate, you move outside of your commitments. The best way to shape a subconscious mind that works for you, that is aligned with the conscious mind, is through repetition. The things you tell yourself end up shaping your belief, and your beliefs shape your behavior. Now, just repeating things to yourself is probably not very efficient, because depending on what you're trying to tell yourself, it takes a long time to actually start shaping your belief system. So a proven way to accessing your subconscious very quickly is through self-hypnosis, or how I call it, mental reprogramming. So after the meditation, I will go into 10 minutes of a specific self-hypnosis protocol that we give our clients to, that helps them lower their brain waves to the level in which they are highly susceptible to commands that they tell themselves. And what I do is I have a whole list of things that I've accomplished in the past, things that I'm going to accomplish in the future, specific behaviors and beliefs that I'm currently deploying, and all of that is part of a protocol that I tell myself every single day right after meditation in this self-hypnosis. This helps me make sense of past experiences and understand how everything that I'm doing in the present moment links to the future image that I am building. And this is a surge in positive energy that every time I do it, which is every day, I just feel so much more able to take over the world. A lot of elite performers, especially in sports, have some sort of self-hypnosis protocol. So I highly encourage you that you also pick it up. Now, protocol number 3 is very tactical in nature. It is breath work. So breath work is a very effective tool that we have, humans, to regulate our nervous system and eventually our subconscious too. Because when we can consciously trigger a relaxation response, we're telling our brain that we are safe and we can relax. And conversely, we can tell our brain that we are under attack or under stress, and we can pump up our cardiovascular system. So depending on what I need each day, depending on how I feel or what I need to be doing, I will implement different breath work protocols. So let's say, for instance, that I feel very stressed out, that I'm running around doing tons of things, running against the clock, and I can feel my stress levels pumping up. Well, then I would do a calming breath protocol, something like box breathing or the physiological side or whatever that calms me, that helps me regulate my stress response. But if on the other side I feel lethargic, I feel sleepy, I will do the contrary. I will do cyclic hyperventilations, for instance, in order to pump myself up and drive my stress response up. So breath work really is very tactical, depends on what I need every day, but every day I do at least one, oftentimes more than one, rounds of breath work in between work sessions, for instance, or depending on the context of the task. And then which leads me to habit number 4, which is ring fencing. So ring fencing is how I call a protocol that I created years ago that basically encapsulates the latest flow research with our own understanding of our chronobiology. So chronobiology is in essence the study of how time, both within the day but also on a longer scale, affects our own biological rhythms. And back in the 1950s, Nathaniel Klein realized that our own body went through cycles of 90-minute sessions, right? At night we call them sleep cycles, but they also happen during the day. So the best way to actually show up our best and really have consistent elite performance is by working within those circadian rhythms, which is the technical term, circadian rhythm. So the ring fencing in essence is a 90-minute work session in which I am working against the clock. So I will put a timer with one specific goal per work session that I have previously visualized. And at the end of the session, I will give myself objective feedback. So what this does is basically stacks up a lot of different flow triggers. By having a very clear idea of what I'm trying to do, I can calculate what is the challenge skill ratio, which is a flow trigger. In essence, how much difficult is the task based on my skill level. I always seek to have 4% more, right? Because that is the optimal stretch calculated by Google engineers 10 years ago. By working against a timer, I am deploying the trigger of high consequences because I am forcing myself to work very, very fast. By giving myself objective feedback at the end of the work session, I am tapping into immediate feedback, which is another flow trigger. In essence, a ring-fence session is a very specific way of working that we teach our clients that helps them get into flow instantaneously and start working super efficiently. This is how they can become 5 times more productive. Now, at the end of the ring-fence session, I would rest and recover, which implies maybe breath work, maybe meditation, maybe go for a walk, maybe chill, maybe take a nap, maybe eat. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that I do not overexcite my brain, that I don't check my phone or go on TikTok or whatever, that I consistently seek to let my brain recharge and encode the information of what the work session that just happened. So that is protocol number 4. Really is a game changer. Start doing this because I can guarantee that it will change the game for you. And finally, protocol or habit number 5 is daily feedback recollection. So you've probably heard me say in the past that feedback is the only hack there is in the universe. It truly is a hack. This hack is deploying feedback in everything you do, is understanding how well did you perform and finding the difference between practice and deliberate practice, which is a technical term. Deliberate practice, as defined by Anders Ericsson, which is the leading researcher in peak performance, who recently passed away, is the practice that uses feedback to improve upon itself. If you're consistently judging your performance and trying to become better every single day, you will eventually trigger this continuously upwards feedback loop that makes you better very quickly. And how I do it is by having an end of day report with myself every single day, something that I learned from the Navy SEALs too. In essence, at the end of the day, I will ask myself 3 questions. One went right, one went wrong, how can I improve the day before? That is important because it moves my focus away of how I'm feeling and to what I have done, with the things that I have accomplished, what specific patterns of thought and behavior are affecting my results. That is the thing that I'm looking to improve. I want unbiased data of how did my day go, and more importantly, how can I become better? At the end of the week, I would do the same, but for the weekly review. What did I get done? What didn't I do wrong? And how can I improve the following week? And this is the 5th habit that I do every single day. That to me is instrumental in peak performance. So these are the 5 habits that I do every single day that we teach our clients that are going to help you sustain peak performance if you're already at that level. 1 is meditation. As the tide lifts our boats, it fosters your spiritual, physical, and mental performance. Then we have the mental reprogramming, which is seek to align the conscious and the subconscious side of the minds to help you be more effective with your behavior. Then 3 is breathwork, which is tactical. It depends on what I need. Maybe it's to relax, maybe it's to overstress, maybe it's to get into a specific state of mind. But I use it every single day. Then 4, ring fencing, very important. Always working 90-minute work sessions with a very specific objective, working against a timer and seeking to get feedback on your performance right after you have finished. This is how you can trigger a flow state very quickly. And at the end of the work session, rest for 30 minutes. And finally, feedback. Get feedback on how the day will go, but also how did the week go and how you can improve much faster. Do these 5 things, and I can guarantee that your life in business is going to be so much more easy and enjoyable. Of course, if you want our system to really unlock your peak performance and start really gaining that edge that you need in order to scale your business the easy way, book a call with us. We'll be happy to help you master yourself. But in the meantime, start applying these protocols and let me know how they work for you. And of course, see you in the next video.